Hola clase. Antes de empezar los verbos en el presente y el imperfecto, vamos a repasar los pronombres. Let's review the subject pronouns for a minute. Remember, these are the pronouns that you put with verbs to do the action, such as I and you. You do have to remember there's two yous in Spanish, informal, informal, he, she, we, you all, and they. So I hope you remember that I is yo and tú is you. You also have usted. You use those with adults. If you need to say you, say usted. Él, ella, nosotros or nosotras if it's a group of girls. Ustedes for you all. Ellos and ellas. Now remember, we are only having one way to say you all. There's two ways to say you, but we are only using one way to say you all, and that's ustedes. There is a version that goes here. It's called vosotros, and it's an informal way to say you all, but it's only used in Spain, so we're not going to focus on that today. Okay, we are going to talk about using those pronouns with verbs and changing those verbs to express what is happening or what happens. So that's the present tense. I don't care if you know what they're called, but if you need to express that something is happening right now in the present, I always color code those pink. And if you need to say what used to happen or was happening, that's in the past tense. It's called the imperfect tense if you want to know the correct term. But I color code those green. So that's my system. If it's happening now, it's pink. If it used to happen or was happening, it is green. Okay, I know last year in Spanish 1, you learned these pinks, let me back up. You learned that verbs end in AR. They end in ER and IR as well. So basic infinitive verbs will end in AR, ER, or IR. And when they have that AR, ER, or IR, they do not have a subject. They have not been conjugated. Okay, so if you know where all those people live, as I call it, okay, if you know who your pronouns are, what they are in Spanish, what they are in English, it makes choosing the right verb ending a lot easier. So we're going to talk about how to express what is happening, what things are happening, happens, present tense. We're going to talk about what used to happen, was happening. So this is my system. Okay, this is just how it helps me, is I think of everything that is happening in the present. Okay, I think of it as pink. Everything that used to happen or was happening, I color code everything green because it was going on in the past. Green for go, it was happening, it was going on in the past. So those are my color coding systems, and I want you to follow that. When you're out on your own, you can do whatever you want. You have to remember that verbs end in AR, ER, or IR. So if I have an infinitive, which is a verb that does not have a subject, I can tell which ending to choose by if it ends in AR, ER, IR. Last year, I'm sure in Spanish 1, you learned that if a verb ends in AR and you need to express what is happening, you would change that AR to O, as, a, amos, an. So pause when you need to. Either use a highlighter or if you have pretty colored pens, write that down. O, as, a, amos, an. If it ends in ER, IR, then you change it to O, es, e. Hemos, if it ends in ER. Hemos, if it ends in IR. And then they both share N. So all of these ER and IRs are very similar. All they have is this little difference. Okay, if it ends in ER and you need to say we, change it to hemos. If it ends in IR and you need to say we, change it to hemos. Okay, so if it is happening, whatever the action is, you use pink. If it used to happen, it was happening, then you choose green. So you take that AR off and you add aba, abas, aba, abamos, aban. There's a lot of blah, blah, blah. Okay? Blah, blah, blah. But it's a very easy set of endings to learn, because once you learn aba, just add an S, add an N, add a mos, boom. Add an S, add an N, add a mos, and you have the AR endings. So it's very repetitive and it's very easy to learn. Okay, so color code that green just so you start seeing aba, abas, aba, abamos, aban in green. If your verb ends in ER or IR. Very simple set of endings. Ia, ias, ia, iamos, ian. Notice they all have accents over the I. That's an ugly accent right there. But they all have accents, so put those. It's very important. Abamos has an accent here. If I don't put that accent, that is pronounced abamos. We want abamos. Okay? So if I need to express that an action used to happen, was happening, I'm going to go to the green. And if you get used to seeing this in green and these in green, it's going to help you remember what set of endings you need to use. Okay, let's talk about how to use these endings. If you have a verb such as cantar, you know how I always teach that cantar, to sing. And you need to say, I sing. Well, you simply drop the AR and add an O. Because I sing, I mean presently, in the current time, I sing. And you go to the pink, I live here, grab the O, canto. I used to sing. Used to sing is a green tense. So, it's AR. I live here. Grab aba. And you get cantaba. Cantaba. And if I will show you the signals for these in just a little while. I do hand signals with these as well if you haven't seen them yet. Okay. If you have a verb such as comer, it ends in ER. It means to eat. If you want to say we eat, first of all, you're thinking pink because that's present. Presently, we eat. I can't use amos. Why can't I use amos? Yes, because it ends in ER. So I'll go right down here. I grab amos, and I get comemos. Don't forget, I could easily put nosotros in front of that. In front of canto. I could easily put yo. Right here, I even like, as a second language learner, I like to put yo in front of that. Yo cantaba. Helps me keep up with who used to sing. Yo cantaba. Okay? Let's say we want to say we used to eat. So we used to, your brain is thinking, that's green. That's in the past tense. Used to eat. I can't use habamos because it ends in ER. I have to go down here. We live right here. Comíamos. Boom. And there again, you could put nosotros in front of that. Escribir ends in IR. So that automatically takes out, boom, these charts. Escribir. I want to say we write. So we write is in the present. So I think pink. I go right over here. We live here. Now you do have a choice, but it's kind of obvious. It ends in IR. Choose imos. Imos. Escribimos. What about we used to write? We used to write. There again, if you go through a process, IR cannot use these. So I go right down here. Used to, because it's green. It's an IR verb. So I choose the correct one. So I think, where do we live? Right here. Escribíamos. Escribimos. So it's very simple. If you have this information, it's very simple to write it down and use it. We just have to practice it out loud. Okay? All right. So I want you to pause the video and look at your handout. It's on the back of worksheet 9 where you took your notes. And in the margin, I want you to put a P if that verb phrase would be pink for present, or G for green, which indicates the past tense. Okay, green is indicating used to do something. So do that now, pause and do that, and then check your answers. Okay, check your answers. And agarra means grab some highlighters and color code your paper to match what I have. Okay, pause if you need to while you do that. After you color code the English version, use a pencil because you may make a mistake. Okay, use a pencil and translate those. Use your charts you just wrote down. Use those charts. Okay, pause and get that finished. Okay, let's check your translations and let's make some corrections. Okay, they sing. I hope you got ellos cantan. If you didn't write ellos, that's okay. I probably, on all of these, I put pronouns. She used to eat. Ella comía. We used to sing. Nosotros cantábamos. You write, now that's the informal you. Tú escribes. Ustedes escribíamos. Got tongue-tied there. He eats, él come. Yo cantaba. Usted cantaban. Ustedes, more than one, ustedes cantan. Nosotros escribíamos. Check your answers. Color code the endings, not the whole word. Make your paper look just like mine. Color code the endings. Pause if you need to. Okay, clase. So study your notes. Replay this if you need to, because you will be tested. I repeat, you will have a test over this information. You have to commit these endings and their colors and what their color represents. You have to commit that to memory. Okay, I'll give you a blank chart. You can fill it in. And then once you have it filled in, you're going to show me you know how to use these endings. You're going to show me you know how to apply these endings, just like we did on the practice sheet. So commit these to memory.